Apparently, we've bought or moved house maybe 10, 12 times. Oh, we've apparently divorced maybe 10, 12 times as well. So everyone's just like what? The second there's an article that says she's in California, you're in New York, they say, well, what is happening with these two? Right. Is that a good thing for you in a way that there's so much interest in you? No, there's definitely not a good thing. It's been years of speculation, headlines, and hushed conversations behind palace doors. But now, Prince Harry has shattered the silence. In a move that stunned royal watchers and critics alike, he's finally spoken out, confirming the whispers that have long surrounded Meghan Markle. What he revealed doesn't just challenge what we thought we knew. It changes everything. From secret motivations to hidden truths buried beneath the glamour, this revelation pulls back the curtain on one of the most controversial love stories of our time. Let's unpack what Harry just confirmed. Prince Harry breaks his silence on Meghan Markle. For years, the world has watched Prince Harry and Meghan Markle with a mix of admiration, curiosity, and controversy. From their fairy tale wedding at Windsor Castle in May 2018 to their shocking royal exit in January 2020, their story has captivated global attention. But now, in a moment that has left both fans and critics speechless, Prince Harry has finally confirmed what many long suspected: Meghan Markle's past isn't as pristine as it appeared. At 40, Prince Harry has decided to speak up, and what he's revealed is both unsettling and deeply personal. His admission has cracked open a narrative that was carefully built over the years. A narrative of a modern duchess, a woman who rose through the ranks of Hollywood to become a global icon for feminism, diversity, and progress. But behind that image, Harry has now revealed, were truths that had been quietly buried. The rumors have always been there, floating in tabloids and whispered among royal commentators. Stories of past lovers, alleged affairs, and personal choices that clashed with the royal image. Until now, they were easy to dismiss. But Prince Harry's recent confession made during a private, yet leaked conversation changed everything. He acknowledged that Meghan had relationships with multiple men before they met, details that had long been the subject of speculation. While there's nothing inherently scandalous about a woman having a romantic history, the issue lies in the contrast between that history and the spotless image the public was fed. This revelation isn't just about Meghan's past. It's about trust. It's about how much of what we've seen has been genuine and how much was orchestrated for the cameras. It calls into question the narrative that's been championed for years of Meghan as the perfect partner, the modern royal, the selfless activist. What makes this even more significant is who's speaking. Prince Harry, once known as the rebellious but beloved spare, has now become the one revealing the most shocking truth of all. Not in anger, but seemingly in frustration. His words suggest a man conflicted, torn between love, loyalty, and the need to finally speak openly. The timing is crucial. In a world where public image is everything, especially within the monarchy, this bombshell may shift the way Meghan is seen not only by the press, but also by the very institutions she once challenged. As the dust begins to settle, many are wondering what this means for the couple's future and how much more of their story remains untold. But what hidden truth from Meghan's past could rewrite everything we thought we knew? Stay glued to your screen. What Harry revealed about Meghan's past. The world had barely caught its breath from Prince Harry's shocking confession when the whispers that had once been easily dismissed began to echo louder than ever. For years, there had been quiet talk about Meghan Markle's past, hushed conversations in celebrity circles, vague mentions in tabloids, and cryptic online threads. But now, with Harry himself finally confirming pieces of the speculation, those whispers have transformed into full-blown questions demanding answers. Even before she met Prince Harry in 2016, Meghan was no stranger to the spotlight. A working actress based in Toronto, while filming the hit show Suits, She moved in elite social circles and attended high-profile events in Los Angeles and New York. But beneath the polished red carpet appearances and humanitarian speeches, rumors swirled. Stories suggested that Meghan had dated and perhaps even strategically aligned herself with several influential men in entertainment and business. At the time, many viewed these as little more than Hollywood gossip, the kind of stories that trail behind any woman on the rise. Yet, according to Harry's recent admission, reportedly made during an emotionally vulnerable moment in late April 2025, while speaking to a close confidant in Monteto, there was more truth to those stories than most people realized. He revealed that Meghan had shared details about her past with him early in their relationship, including her connections with powerful figures in Hollywood. He said he accepted it, believing that love could overcome judgment. But now, with their marriage under public scrutiny, he's admitted the full extent of her past had been quietly weighing on him. It wasn't just about who she had dated, it was about why. Some sources close to the couple now claimed that Meghan had a pattern of using relationships as stepping stones, building connections that advance her social standing and public image. Whether that's true or not remains unclear. But what is clear is that the image presented to the world of a self-made philanthropic duchess may have been more calculated than most believed. Supporters of Meghan have long argued that such rumors are rooted in design to undermine a woman who broke into the royal family against the odds. And for years, Harry fiercely defended her against that very narrative. But his tone now seems different, less defiant, more reflective. His recent words suggest a man who's tired of keeping secrets, a man who's finally ready to reveal the price of living inside a story carefully managed by publicists and palace advisors. Now, with these revelations in the open, the question isn't just what Meghan did before she became a duchess, but how much of her public persona was real and how much was performance. Meghan's Hollywood past revisited. As the questions around Meghan Markle's carefully curated image grow louder, Prince Harry's recent revelation has reignited curiosity about a chapter of her life long shrouded in mystery. Her Hollywood years. The image of a compassionate duchess, a modern voice for change, is now being weighed against a lesser-known but deeply influential period in Meghan's journey. Her early days in the entertainment industry and the network of relationships that surrounded her long before royal life. Before she became a duchess or a household name, Meghan was grinding her way through the competitive world of Hollywood. Her breakthrough role came in 2011 when she landed the part of Rachel Zane on the legal drama Suits, filmed in Toronto. But long before that, she had already begun to make waves, not just with casting directors, but with her ability to forge relationships in influential circles. At red carpet events in Los Angeles and charity galas in Beverly Hills, Meghan was often seen among powerful names in the entertainment world. While her acting resume slowly grew, so too did her social connections. Among those connections was Trevor Ingleson, a Hollywood producer whom Meghan married in 2011 in a quiet ceremony in Jamaica. Though the marriage lasted just 2 years before ending in 2013, it became a focal point for critics who questioned her motivations. Some argued that the relationship served more than romantic purposes, suggesting it was part of a deliberate effort to climb the industry's steep social ladder. Meghan rarely spoke about the marriage publicly, which only fueled speculation. Following her divorce, Meghan's dating life remained mostly private, though not invisible. Whispers circulated about brief involvements with several notable men, celebrity chefs, business mogul, and entertainment insiders. These connections were often subtle and rarely confirmed, but for those following her trajectory closely, they painted a picture of a woman determined to position herself where opportunity thrived. Whether those relationships were personal, professional, or both, they seemed to form part of a larger pattern. By the time Meghan met Prince Harry in the summer of 2016, she was no longer a background player. She had become a polished actress with international recognition, a lifestyle blog, a TIG, and a string of high-profile appearances with UN Women and other organizations. But it's now with Harry opening up in early 2025 about how much he knew of her past that those earlier years have taken on new meaning. The suggestion that Meghan's relationships were more strategic than spontaneous adds complexity to the woman the world thought they knew. Her rise, critics claim, was not only about talent, but timing, alignment, and who she chose to align with. And now, as old names and past connections resurface, the puzzle pieces of her pre-royal life are slowly beginning to fall into place. But what if the past Meghan thought was buried is clawing its way back, exposing truths no one saw coming? Keep watching whispers that wouldn't fade. As Meghan's fame reached royal heights and her face became a global symbol of modern royalty, the past she had once left behind began to resurface with growing force. The moment her engagement to Prince Harry was announced in November 2017, media attention swelled not only around their future, but around Meghan's history. What once passed as quiet curiosity quickly transformed into a frenzy, with every headline trying to unearth details of the woman about to enter Britain's most scrutinized institution. It was no longer just about her television career or her humanitarian work. As the couple prepared to wed in Windsor Castle on May 19, 2018, the narrative around Meghan started to shift. Tabloid outlets across the UK and America began publishing timelines of her relationships, dissecting her dating history with renewed interest. Every past boyfriend, every friendship with a powerful man was suddenly front-page material, and at the center of these growing questions stood her former husband, Trevor Ingleson. Their marriage, which began in 2011 and ended quietly in 2013, was once regarded as an ordinary Hollywood story. Two rising professionals growing apart. But now, under the spotlight of royal expectations, it became something more. Sources close to the couple suggested that while their separation appeared amicable on the surface, deeper layers existed, ones that the public never truly saw. Questions about why the marriage ended, how it impacted Meghan, and whether she maintained relationships with men from that chapter of her life, all became hot topics of speculation. Despite her team's efforts to project an image of stability and love, the media latched onto any detail that hinted at a strategic rise. Some insiders claimed that Meghan had kept in touch with certain influential exes, including Ingleson himself. These allegations weren't always supported by hard evidence, but they fit neatly into a narrative many were eager to believe that Meghan's connections were more than coincidental and possibly calculated. What made this even more intriguing was how quietly Meghan responded, or rather how much she chose not to respond. While she had always championed women's empowerment and owning one's story, she avoided confrontation with these rumors. Instead, her silence allowed room for speculation. Was it dignity, strategy, or something else entirely? With each new report, her polished royal image clashed with tales of a more complex woman. A woman whose ambition, relationships, and past were far more layered than the fairy tale headlines once promised. And as her royal role expanded, so too did the questions that refused to stay buried. The rise, the rumors, and the royal reckoning. What began as whispers turned into a relentless storm. As Meghan Markle's story moved from Hollywood scripts to royal headlines, the tales of her past refused to stay buried. Her time after the quiet end of her marriage to Trevor Ingleson in 2013 became the media's new obsession. Though many of these relationships were never officially confirmed, they created a complex web of intrigue that seemed to follow Meghan long after she traded red carpets for royal duties. In the years leading up to her relationship with Prince Harry, Meghan was reportedly seen in the company of several prominent men in the entertainment world. While these connections were kept discreet, tabloids caught wind of them and turned each photograph, each event appearance into a possible romantic scandal. Rumors swirled about supposed flings with producers, business executives, and even a well-known celebrity chef. Every new name added to the list painted Meghan not just as a rising actress, but as a woman who allegedly knew how to navigate circles of power. When she and Prince Harry announced their engagement in late 2017, the fairy tale narrative took center stage. Here was the beautiful American actress about to become a royal duchess, stepping into a world that had not seen someone quite like her before. But the press wasn't done with her past. It had only just begun pulling it apart. Stories resurfaced, hinting that Meghan's previous relationships may have been more calculated than romantic, part of a bigger plan to position herself among the elite. Some media outlets suggested her charm wasn't just for cameras, but was used deliberately to build connections that could open doors. These theories, although never proven, were endlessly debated. Meghan's silence on the matter only deepened the mystery. She never publicly commented, never defended or denied. That quiet distance made room for the speculation to grow. Then, years later, the silence broke. In a rare and emotional interview, Prince Harry confirmed what many had long suspected. Yes, he revealed Meghan had been involved in multiple serious relationships before they met. He said he had known all along that Meghan had told him everything early on, but the public hadn't. And when that truth finally emerged, it sent shock waves through the carefully built image of the royal couple. What had been portrayed as a storybook romance now carried shadows of hidden truths. The revelation not only shocked fans, but also reignited questions about what had drawn Meghan to the royal family in the first place. Was love the only reason, or was there something more? But what really happened after Harry shattered the silence? And why did it leave everyone questioning everything? Don't scroll away. This part's crucial, when silence turned into revelation. The moment Harry spoke, everything shifted. What had long lingered in the background as idle gossip suddenly surged forward with startling clarity. The world, having speculated for years, finally heard the truth, not from anonymous sources or suggestive headlines, but from the Duke of Sussex himself. In a move no one expected, Prince Harry confirmed what had once been dismissed as tabloid noise, and with that, the tightly held narrative around Meghan Markle began to unravel. The interview took place in early 2025 during a sit-down that had been teased for weeks. Expectations were high, but few imagined the conversation would turn as personal as it did. While much of the discussion focused on Harry and Meghan's strained relationship with the royal family, in an emotional interview, Britain's Prince Harry says he wants to reconcile with his family, but claims his father, the King of England, refuses to speak to him. The conversation turned unexpectedly toward Meghan's past, a subject Harry had always guarded fiercely. But this time he didn't hold back. With quiet intensity, Harry spoke of the pressure they'd faced, both as individuals and as a couple. But then came the admission that stunned even the most seasoned royal watchers. Referring to the long-circulated rumors, Harry stated, "There have been a lot of stories told about Meghan, some wildly inaccurate, but others not so far from the truth." The room fell still. It wasn't just what he said. It was how he said it, calm, measured, and painfully honest. He acknowledged that before their paths crossed in 2016, Meghan had been involved in several serious relationships, many of them with influential men. He clarified that this wasn't a scandal, nor something to be ashamed of, but it was the truth. "She had a life before me," he said, "and it was complicated like anyone else's. Maybe more so because of the circles she moved in." The most talked about moment came when Harry alluded to what many had whispered for years. Meghan's connections weren't purely coincidental, they were strategic. Whether out of ambition or circumstance, she had, according to Harry, moved through social circles that helped shape her public image. She knew what she wanted, Harry admitted, and she wasn't afraid to go after it. His words weren't accusatory. They were reflective, but they carried weight. For the first time, the polished veneer surrounding Meghan's rise to royalty cracked, and behind it, the world saw a woman who had worked hard, made choices, and carried secrets. As the interview concluded, questions hung heavy in the air. What else remained untold? What had Harry gained or lost by finally opening up? And most importantly, how would the public respond now that the truth was no longer a rumor, but a royal confession? The reason behind Harry's long-awaited confession. The shock waves from Prince Harry's confession were still rippling when a new question began to echo. Why now? Why had he chosen this moment nearly a decade after meeting Meghan Markle to finally confirm the rumors that had long haunted her name? The answer, as Harry explained during that emotional 2025 interview, was rooted in loyalty and timing. He hadn't remained silent out of ignorance, quite the opposite. Harry had known about Meghan's romantic history well before they became engaged in 2017. But for him, silence had been a form of protection. He described it not as denial, but as a conscious decision to shield Meghan from the relentless wave of public judgment. From the earliest days of their relationship, Meghan had been pursued by paparazzi, criticized by commentators, and dissected in the press. Harry had watched it all unfold, and his instinct had been to protect. He believed Meghan deserved the space to tell her story in her own time. For years, that space came in the form of his silence. But the noise outside grew louder. As Meghan and Harry stepped back from royal duties in early 2020 and relocated to North America, the scrutiny didn't stop. It intensified. Every move they made was examined, and Meghan's past became a recurring headline. Rumors about her Hollywood years, her previous relationships, and the nature of her ambition were constantly revived and rehashed. The pressure, Harry admitted, became impossible to ignore. In the interview, he explained that staying silent had begun to feel like a betrayal, not of the public, but of the truth. People were going to keep talking, he said, and if we didn't say something ourselves, we were just letting the lies take root. His words were raw and deliberate. He confirmed that Meghan had indeed been in relationships before him, some serious, some less so, but none of it, he stressed, defined who she was today. He wasn't revealing this to shame her, but to reclaim the narrative. She's not perfect, neither am I, but she's not who they say she is. The public's reaction was swift and divided. Supporters praised Harry's honesty and Meghan's right to a past, celebrating the couple's openness in a world so obsessed with hiding flaws. But critics, long skeptical of Meghan's motives, seized on the confession. They pointed to it as proof of a calculated rise from television to royalty, fueled not by love but by ambition. The meteor reignited its obsession. Old photos resurfaced. Quotes from former colleagues and ex-boyfriends made headlines. Meghan's past, once buried in whispers, was now on display for all to see and judge. And though Harry had spoken to end the noise, the storm was only getting louder. But what did Meghan really feel when Harry spoke out? Was it relief, betrayal, or something far more unexpected? The calm. After the storm, Meghan's quiet strength. As the dust began to settle following Prince Harry's stunning confession, all eyes shifted to Meghan. The world braced for a dramatic reaction, a fiery rebuttal or emotional breakdown. But what came instead was something far more striking: poise. Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, stood unmoved. Those closest to her described her demeanor as calm, composed, even quietly powerful in the face of a revelation that could have easily shattered her carefully cultivated public image. Meghan had always made it a point to control her own story, and this moment proved no different. While headlines exploded across tabloids and online platforms dissected every word uttered by Harry, Meghan chose not to respond with panic or public outcry. She stood firmly beside her husband, unwavering in her support. It was no surprise to insiders that she had been prepared for this moment. She had known that the truth, or at least Harry's version of it, would eventually surface, She had accepted that inevitability long before the world caught wind of it, and yet, behind that unshakable exterior, the emotional toll was undeniable. For a woman who had spent most of her adult life pushing back against labels, criticisms, and relentless public judgment, hearing her past confirmed openly and by her own husband marked a turning point. No longer was her history merely the subject of whispers or speculation. It had been spoken aloud, on record, and in the spotlight. For years, Meghan had carefully built a reputation as a modern icon, an advocate for gender equality, a speaker for marginalized voices, a woman who used her platform to bring attention to causes bigger than herself, from the set of Suits in Los Angeles to speaking engagements in South Africa and London. She'd become a global figure. But now, a shadow lingered over that image. Would the world view her differently? Would this public confirmation of her past relationships affect how she was welcomed into powerful circles, or even how she would be remembered in the public consciousness? The questions were just beginning. But what do you think really lies behind Meghan's calm strength, strategy, or something else entirely? We'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.